Okay, so part two of my diatribe here. It's about 5:56 in the morning, West Coast time. Coming up on light. It's September 17th, 2024. I was talking about suicide, and I was talking about a girl that actually committed suicide, age of 17 yesterday. And yeah, it's affected me a great deal. Actually, she killed herself on Friday the 13th. And we're just now getting the stories on a Tuesday. A girl that was struggling like crazy on how to get. She was trying to struggle like crazy, just getting to the top, and next thing you know, she's dead, and nobody else is saying reasons why, what's going on. And I wanted to get in this girl's head to see what was going on. What drove her to the point? Was there personal problems? Was there any conflicts going on that she couldn't get resolved or try to find a way around them? Was some of the goals and challenges too hard for her that she just decided to quit? The hard way? It was never easy trying to come up with that idea of thinking of killing yourself. It was never that easy. One would have to be in such a despair and despondent and depressed state that if nothing else would happen, nothing else would matter in this mortal plane, so maybe the other one would have been a hell of a lot better. And I almost got myself put in those situations myself. So, yeah, in a way I can understand and relate, but the problem is, the thing is, a long time ago I didn't know how to put it into words. There was no way in hell I could have put this damn thing into words. None. Because as a young teenager, kid growing up to an adulthood, a hell of a lot of expectations shoved on them. You have to get good grades in schools, otherwise you won't get into colleges. And if you do get into colleges, go into a community college and do about a year or two. But by that time, if you actually prove that you're improving, it's not good enough for them, and kick your ass out. I know it happened to me. And in those days, I wanted to kill myself because I wasn't good enough. I didn't do things. I didn't do things. I learned things the hard way. You had to survive. You had no choice. Of course, I had medication screwing me over at that point, but I still had the feelings. I wanted to run away and hide. I didn't want to deal with anything else like the adults would. I wanted to go somewhere else and hide. Go into the fantasy world. If there was a magical portal, step right through it and go. And not deal with the shit here. Not realizing I'd be bringing my own damn mental baggage with me, along with the physical baggage I'd be bringing it with me to some other place, and have to survive on that one. Because I would never be able to get rid of the other shit I got going on inside of me. No resolutions. I was thinking maybe the outside world would change me a bit. You know what they call that in 12-step recovery sometimes? Traveling. They call it a geographic. Travel from one place to another place to another place, and you think it's going to be solving your damn problems. Half the times it may be, and other times it doesn't. Because you still haven't come across to the point where you're recognizing that you got the issue going on and you can't do anything about it except struggle. She's struggling like crazy at this point. Gotta put you on a pause. When you're being a caregiver, interruptions happen. It's never easy talking about what's going on inside of yourself. It's never easy talking about what's driving you crazy to the point where you're thinking death is the only thing. Death is the only adventure left. That'll solve everything. Solve your pain. Solve everything for you. A temporary solution, but permanent effects. And also effects happening on both sides. It's repercussions. But of course, when you're feeling that way, it's you're not thinking it. You're thinking all about trying to get past your own damn crap going on in your head and your heart. And trust me, I've been there. Sometimes I'm still there. But I discovered when I got older that I actually had family and I had support, and we're still struggling with each other. And then later on in life, we had to go to different programs, processes, people to help us with the travels, to help us with the issues. Trust me, it's easy enough to run away when you're a kid. Just pack a few things and run. Of course, outside, stop and look at the world that you just entered. How the hell are you supposed to be able to deal with that one? How are you supposed to cope and handle that? How else are you supposed to think that you're going to get any help? Because you can go to your friend's place, see how they're treating each other, and they'll put the face on. They'll put the face on. The face is you're not here, you're not one of ours, but we'll help you to a point. But we really want you to leave. If they really love you, oh, you can stay here overnight. We'll tell your parents about what's going on. No, 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 don't tell my parents. I mean, they'll be worried about you. Yeah, well, I don't care about that. You should. Calling the cops on you, put the missing kids report and Amber Alert on your ass. These days they'll do it. Back then, shit. Back in the 80s, 70s, and 80s, they did not put your name out there, but they did put you on the list. And if they actually had time, they'd have a cop out there trying to find your ass, bring you home. How do you deal with the adult pressures being put on a kid? How are you supposed to deal with that? I try to figure it out even as an adult, and I'm putting myself in that kind of childhood mode where adults had a hell of a lot of expectations. My own family had expectations. I had to grow up and grow beyond it, and it still scared the hell out of me. It still hurt like hell. I'm seeing people around me dying left and right. I saw my aunt die on me, and one day she's celebrating her birthday, and the next day I'm being woken up that she's already passed. That screws you up. A few months later, you're moving into a new home and you get into an argument. Actually, your mother gets an argument with her own mother, your own grandmother there, and then grandmother goes, and then a few days later, your mother's going over to the hospital to pick her up because she had a stroke. How are you supposed to be able to deal with that, especially when you need to go to school and deal with that shit over there? God. But I was already dealing with a friend of mine who has already committed suicide. I was still trying to process that. And process the aunt. And now I got to deal with the grandmother who's in a situation that I couldn't even deal with her bizarro things. My ma just struggling like crazy was taking care of me, my brother in this situation in the Navy, and dealing with grandma being in a stroke. Oh, you talk about wanting to leave out life, check out a life real fast on that one. Go to another dimension and just hide there for a while. Maybe grow up and come back and everything else will be normal. That was an expectation of mine. Didn't happen. Nope. Every day I had to deal with my studies, but also I had to deal with my grandmother needing my services all the damn time. Half her brain not working. She's yelling out, "Fred! Fred! Fred! Grandma, there's no Fred here. I want Fred." Who the hell's Fred? I want Fred. There's no Fred here. Where's Fred? He's not here, Grandma. Fred! I kept wondering if people who are struggling through the schools had to deal with caregiving duties at home, and yet they had to have good grades. My grades were slipping like crazy, sliding. And even after when my grandmother died, the pain and grief was still there. I was still focusing. I couldn't deal with the negativity and the crap at home. I skipped out on the grade entirely. I started skipping classes. I didn't get expelled, thank God. I didn't get suspended, but I did get held back a year. My mother was pissed off at me because of it. Well, gee, I wonder why. All the crap I was going through, I might as well just committed myself to an insane asylum. Would have been better to kill myself during those days. And how the hell Mom and Dave would have been able to deal with that? Dave was already dealing with his own drug and alcohol problem at the time. He couldn't deal with the shit in the Navy that he was experiencing. He didn't realize what the hell was going on, what was asked of him. And then deal with the shit at home? Oh, God. Imagine the crap my brother was going through in that time. You guys keep seeing the cabinet that I have always on my left. You know, I would love to have them alive these days, that I can share these stories with them. They get the better accurate information from them of what their viewpoints were. I can only go through my own viewpoints. I can't tell the youth or the adults these days what it's like about the suicide situation, about the inadequacies one feels and the memories popping up, and how I'm supposed to be able to handle this kind of crap. Of all the fear happening and feeling like life is driving you nuts, that you can't even handle this shit. As to wonder us adults these days are having more and more therapy sessions because we just didn't know how to handle our child decisions because there was no way for us to handle the damn thing back then. We didn't have therapy sessions back then. Except not the ones we wanted in the first place, like we're getting right now these days. At least these days we could talk to people about it. But back then, it cost money to go to a shrink, probably prescribe pills or something like that to you. Or therapy groups to go into. I didn't hear anything about that. No, you had to grow up and had to go through this shit. You had to be angry about it. And if you wanted to have fun with your friends, it wasn't enough. And you still feel like you're isolating. You feel like you're alone. You feel like you're a failure all the damn time. You didn't get the positive influences. No, you just got the stares or you got the gripes and grumbles from the family. Yeah. I wanted to live in the worst way. Two worst ways. Either you kill yourself or you go into another dimension. Or another universe. Or another planet. Or somewhere else away from home. Trouble is, when you get outside the damn door and you're into territories that you don't even know where the hell you are, guess what? You're in another world. How the hell are you supposed to be able to deal with shit? How are you supposed to be able to live and survive? Where the hell's your support? Did you get out of home? You thought you had out of home. No, you had to walk out. You had to leave. You had to run away. You tried to find some place to fit in. And you discovered there's a hell of a lot of places you can't fit in. You're worse than a square peg in a round hole. Because you're not quite there yet to fit into their diagram. Try everything you can, but you can't just do it. These are the thoughts and feelings I had as a kid back then. That's how I'm saying it. This is how I'm telling you. This is what I'm telling you. I almost came damn close to running away from home myself. But when I actually felt it, there were times I actually did want to kill myself. And I was afraid of death. I was afraid of dealing with God on his own terms. I've already been rejected out of heaven 3 times already. How come you didn't want me to stay there? You're always up out of the damn body. You're trying to repair my damn body. You're trying to fix the damn heart. Get born in the world with plumbing issues and crooked limbs. And what happens? The limbs get fixed by orthopedic devices, but the heart, no, you had to open the damn thing up. And then I had to die 3 times. Now, how the hell is a kid supposed to be able to process that at the age of 4 years old? Now, you're talking about being not connected with reality, not connecting with anybody because of that experience. Trying to save my life, trying to save my ass, but there was nobody out there for me to talk to about this one. Not even a priest would understand it. Not even a fatherly figure in the clergy would be able to understand this damn thing because they knew about the book, but they didn't go through this process. I was scared to death of talking to people. I was scared of talking to anybody about it, let alone praying to God about it, because I was afraid to talk to Him about it. And if I did, I'd probably think I was crazy. Talk about a guy trying to understand why you're going through suicide as a kid. Try being in my shoes. I'm trying to understand your shoes. Why you felt it, why you thought it, why you went through it. Why was it necessary for you to go through it? What the hell was driving you crazy, Emily Gold? Damn near reached the pinnacle over there, and you were climbing. And then you fell. And you fell. And it's people like them, the youth and old and in between. They got stories, they got histories, they've got explanations, they got thoughts and feelings of strife and struggle, triumphs and tragedies. And sometimes they're so muted they don't even know how to reach out and tell people, listen to my pain, listen to my experiences, listen to my thought, listen to me. I need to get this out here. I need to tell you what's going on in my head, how screwed up I am, and in my heart how I'm feeling. I don't feel the support. I don't feel the love. I don't feel this. I don't feel that. I don't feel anything. What scares me, is coming across as some damn guru who think I know everything. But this is my own observations, my own feelings, my own experiences I'm going through myself. Things that I didn't want to go through already, but I am going through it. Even as an adult, reliving that kind of stuff these days. Because I know what it's like to lose support. Identity in all sorts. And when you don't have that, how weak you feel. Terrified, scared, easily to be manipulated. It's no wonder a lot of us who are feeling that way, who get isolated, that we have to build up the walls and just only dependent upon those crumbling barriers, because that's the only thing we got protecting us from the outside world, outside experiences. I wanted to go out, and I wanted to do things as a kid, but I was too damn afraid, and I didn't have the support necessary at the time, as I felt and thought at the time. How am I supposed to get to a person, even to myself back then, regarding the situation of being suicidal, of ending a life, I feel for that person. Strive to struggle, the fear, the anxiety, and the quiet resignation. And feeling there's no going back. So one has to. That's the thoughts and feelings that would go through your head. Nobody understands, and therefore they can't explain it in any other way. So they might as well do it because that's the only way. And they find out it's never the right answer. It's never the right choice. How do you talk to people like that? Some people try to think like they understand it, but they haven't walked it. If they haven't gone through that, they haven't gone through the mental instability. We come across characters and people in our media who may be so screwed up. Maybe somewhere you're seeing the neurosis of the author itself in form and function. And how are they in life? Also, were they in death? Edgar Allan Poe. They thought he was a weird guy. Wrote stuff that would challenge people's opinions about their own selves and everybody else, and he died like one of his characters would, or Stephen King's character. And not gloriously, but just without form or function, just crumbled into the streets. Unloved, forgotten, cast off. And how we see these poor people going through the suicide left and right in the same form and fashion. And they don't even realize what kind of an impact they made on people's lives one way or another. And they didn't even realize it. But of course, they still realized it, but they haven't realized it. I mean, surfacely, yeah, but inside, really? Do they understand before they cross that threshold of just how much their lives have affected other people? Nope, because the automatic is on right there. Once you already made that decision, it's automatic and you're going for it. Unless, of course, you actually made that conscious decision with yourself, that fight inside of saying that you want to live, you want another breath in your life. You want to breathe, you want to feel your lungs expand and then collapse again. You actually want to feel your heart still beating at this point. You want to see something through your eyes, feel something through your hands if they're not neurotic or decrepit or filled with neuropathy. That your legs are actually able to walk you through things, or just be able just to sit and breathe and just look at life. And still decide whether or not you actually want to still participate in it or not. One way or another. The thing is, when you're on that other side, you may not have a chance. You may not have a chance or a choice. You may not, depending how your mortal corpse is going to be treated, or how it's going to be ended up as. I take death way too damn weirdly. I've seen too much of it. I've been through it once before. It's not fun. But how can I explain it to people concerning about suicide? How it hurts others. How it hurts themselves and what the conflict is all about. How do I explain that in a form or function that someone can try understanding? You're not alone in this crap. In this day and age, we've got forms of communication and people out there to reach. Back in my day, we didn't. But these days, I worry more about losing my dog, what limited time she's got left, and how it's going to be affecting me, and how I'm going to be living life. She is still struggling through hers, and she wants to live, but she's also having her own limitations. She's blind, she's deaf, and she feels lost and alone. But in my arms, she's comforted and safe. I can't leave this world without her. But I know eventually she's going to leave mine without me. And how I'm going to be able to deal with that one is what's constantly perplexing me and vexing me. You think you had enough challenges or people screaming and yelling at you and you think you can't deal with it? I've had a lifelong of that, but also half of it's been in here. That's why I go talk to people. That's why I do recordings. I'm constantly doing recordings on this thing. I'm also doing this on camera. I need to find ways to get it off of me and get it out of me and a way to communicate to people left and right. Maybe in time people will listen and watch this shit. I hope so. Let's see what kind of a neurotic son of a bitch I am. I got too many of these videos. Or maybe not enough of them. My channel is just to do with an emotional and memory lifeboat. A way of measuring if I'm going under or not. And to tell people where I came from and who I am. I didn't expect to have many followers. I didn't expect to have anybody following me at all. But I'm grateful. I'm glad. I'm just not used to dealing with a lot of people, though. It's hard enough trying to get one or two people to listen to me. But others? We're all screwed up in our own way. There's no perfect person out there that's got it together. We're all screwed up mentally and physically. Sometimes it shows, and other times it doesn't. We still have to deal with our own mental baggages. We got to deal with our own past, one way or another. We also have to deal with the idea that one day we are going to be facing our own mortality. It still scares the living crap out of me, and I'll keep talking about it. But somehow there's going to be a point where I'm going to say, that's enough. That's enough vitriol I'm putting out there regarding it. That one day I may be looking forward to it. Because I had enough of life. That's all I had. I had enough of it. And I don't want to deal with any more of it. Losing too many people and too many beings that I care about. And I just want to be with them all the time. All the stuff I missed out on this life. But I can tell you one thing, it ain't that day yet. Today is not that day. This second isn't it. Maybe down the road, but not this morning. Not this morning. I got a dog that still needs me. She's fussing like crazy, and I'm dealing with my dog. I'm dealing with my mamas. I'm dealing with her. And their new horse is going on right now. She's an old lady. 21 years old, I think. But she's been with me all her life. Or just about, anyway. She's been with Ma and Dave first, but then the rest of it's mine. I wouldn't have it any other way. And what's going to kill me at this point is when I lose her. And how do I deal with that one is another story. I'll tell you about it probably after. Right now, I put her on the floor. Okay. Easy does it, old girl. Easy does it, mamas. With that being said, breakfast, my stomach is screaming, and so is my brain and my body and everything else.